Regulators. We regulate any stealing of his property. We're damn good, too. But you can't be any geek off the street. Gotta be handy with the steel, if you know what I mean. Earn your keep.
Regulators! Mount up.
Warren G, 1994, for those of you keeping track. Yeah. All right, you guys ready to get this party started? All right, cool. I'm Mark Strickland, Provost here at St. Pete College Seminole Campus, and we're delighted to have you here in the audience and virtually. Plus, we're recording it, and I believe we're also streaming this on a radio service provider as well, so it's everywhere. So I also want to thank our students for taking the time to commit to this awesome journey that you're getting ready to go through. It takes a lot of courage to come up here and debate. And so we look forward to watching you all in action. And before I leave the stage, I want to give a shout out clearly to all the people that put this event together, the Strategic Institute, obviously, and plus the schools that are participating, Hillsborough Community College, Eastern Florida State College, Palm Beach State, and St. Pete College. Truly a growth in this event, and it's all to the leader of the Institute. And so with that in mind, I want to go ahead and introduce the Executive Director of the Institute, Ms. Kimberly Jackson. Come on.
I don't know how to do this music thing, so this is what the young people tell me we had to do. Welcome. I'm so happy that you all are here. It's so good to be in this space and to see all the students who have worked very hard to get here. I am honored always to represent this institute. This institute is Congressman Young's gift to the college and gift to the Florida college system. It's a way for us to have these programs that engage the students with social, political, and economic issues, to involve our tremendous faculty and student leads who do so much. I want to pause and just say thank you to my tremendous team who do an awesome job running this. Sam Jenkins, Aaron Bryce, Tim Scott, Matthew Lee, our new fellows, who are all doing a great job. And I also want to thank the participants. Mark and Doug have been doing this a very long time, I think about 8 or 9 years, can't keep count. Dr. Katie Snell, who I'm sure does not want me calling her out, has done a tremendous job of supporting all the faculty among all the colleges. And the colleges that are participating, thank you. For those of you all who don't know, they work with us from around July on. They are excited to recruit you, to retain you, to work with you, and to do all that. So I want to say thank you for being here. I have the honor to introduce my boss, Dean Susan Demers. She wears a lot of hats, not just at the college. She's the Dean of Law and Order. That means legal, ethics, and law, and in law enforcement. She is also a community leader. She works with our law school. She works with our local theater. She works with young children. She's my former professor and my forever mentor. So thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Kim. I'm Susan Demers. As Kim said, I am the Dean of Public Policy, Public Safety, Ethics, and Legal Studies here at St. Petersburg College. But tonight, it is my pleasure to again moderate our grand debate. This is a tradition here at SPC that now goes back 14 years from its original inception, but of course, you know you're carrying on a tradition that has existed in the world for millennia. The idea of civil discussion to hone your critical thinking. That's the whole idea behind all of this. So let me just say a few words about why we choose to host this. First of all, it does fulfill the college experience goal by, we'll say, promoting friendly rivalries. It provides a great out-of-classroom experience for both the competitors and their audience members on all your home campuses. It helps competitors hone your research skills, your writing and presentation skills, and if you were cynical, you could say that that's a form of interview preparation. But it's also great preparation for the Sunday dinner table discussion, too. Life is all about thinking things through, sometimes alone inside your head, but very often we learn the most when we debate with those who disagree with us. It advances the understanding of public issues, and this year we had a variety of topics tackled in the preliminaries: death penalty, affordable free community college, germline and embryonic genetic engineering, school choice. None of those small issues. These are controversial, important, timely issues about which our students became well informed along the journey, but they also learned something about themselves as they worked their way through this. I want to thank all of you, students, faculty and staff, family members, friends of the debaters, first audiences, second audiences. It takes practice to get better at this, and you can only have practice if there's someone standing there with you. So be sure and thank those people. I particularly want to say, as someone who coaches in another part of my life, be sure to thank your coaches. Now, I will say this to you. They have given you a gift that you can carry with you for the rest of your life. Their head has transferred lots of knowledge to you, but it has also gifted you with the sound of their voice in your head at critical moments for the rest of your life. So thank them now, because you'll be carrying that little gift with you for a very long time. I want to thank our scorekeeper, Dr. Mark Strickland, who's the SPC Seminole Provost, our timekeeper, Doug Rivero, who is an assistant dean here at SPC, and the official on board here tonight, the referee, the person that we will have to resort to in times of conflict, Dr. Katie Snell, who's a professor here at the St. Petersburg College, but on the Gibbs campus now. Is that right, Katie? All right, excellent. So now I want to introduce our judges. Irv Cohen is a seasoned executive with a distinguished career on Wall Street, having held key leadership positions at renowned institutions like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan Chase. Currently, he serves as the board chair of the CodeBox Foundation, where he is committed to workforce development by providing individuals with access to education and career paths in technology. In addition, as the executive director of the St. Petersburg Foundation, Irv champions efforts to improve the local economy and support the community through a wide array of initiatives. I want to introduce Tony Carvajal. I'm so sorry, so close. He's the CEO of the Association of Florida Colleges, and he has a long history in public policy and organizational leadership. Before joining the Association of Florida Colleges, Mr. Carvajal served as an executive vice president at Florida Tax Watch. He's also held leadership positions with the Able Trust, the Florida Chamber Foundation, and the Collins Center for Public Policy. He earned a bachelor's degree in psychology and communication from Florida State University and a master's in public administration from Florida International University. And last but certainly not least is Ruth Ross, who has had a successful 30-year career as a strategic senior human resources executive with a range of top Fortune 100 companies, in both New York and in San Francisco, including Citibank, American Express, Estee Lauder Cosmetics, Charles Schwab, before eventually retiring as an executive vice president of human resources at Wells Fargo. In 2012, she began her own consulting firm where she focused on the critical business imperative of employee engagement. Now, at this point, I'm going to go over the rules. All of the student debaters were assigned the same topic, which is artificial intelligence will positively impact the labor market. That's the proposition we are debating tonight. They were randomly assigned to a debate side and to an opponent and the speaking order. So, let me emphasize that the position a student or college is advocating does not mean that he or she personally believes in that position. The position is assigned for purposes of debate. Likewise, the Policy Institute doesn't represent the views of students or faculty or educational institutions or any affiliated organizations. The views expressed during the program are for educational purposes. We're thinking things through. It is an academic exercise in the fullest meaning of that term. Each debater will have 2 minutes in which to make the case for her or his assigned position. They each then have 1 minute to make a rebuttal of the opponent's points and to wrap up his or her own argument. And then there is a surrebuttal, and then the debate ends. There's to be no interrupting of a speaker while making the presentation. So this is not one of those Lincoln Douglas kinds of debates where you interrupt somebody else. These are speak, speak, rebut, 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 final rebuttal, end of round. Does that make sense to everybody? All righty. The judges then rate the debaters using a scoring system of 1 to 100, poor to excellent, evaluating on these 6 metrics. Opening argument. Did the student make his or her position and the reasons for it clear? Comprehension of relevant factors. Did they understand what things were actually relevant to the issue? Rebuttals. Did they address the other opponent's more persuasive points? The quality of the evidence that they cited, their presentation style, and finally, consistency throughout the 3 presentations. Now, Kyle, our tech support, will show the actual rules, there we are, of the competition. Students may use 1 4x6 note card and a blank paper for notes while debating. Points will be deducted if it appears the student is reading at any point. No students are allowed to read off computers or cell phones or other devices. This is a live public speaking exercise. They are here now. The judges will use the score sheets provided. Any questions about rules will be answered by Professor Snell. The moderator, that would be me, is responsible for keeping the show going. Professor Rivero will be responsible for letting the students know, and there are time cards so that the advocates understand about how much time they have to go. And with that, there's just a few more notes. First of all, you probably noticed that there was a little bit of a musical interlude as each student walked on stage. They chose their own walkout songs. So not only will Professor Jackson and Dr. Strickland get a walkout song, but each student has also selected their presentation. And we are also introducing a new concept, which is a faculty debate, where faculty members will compete in a debate on the same topic, same rules, and our goal here, faculty members, is to model the behavior for our students. Next year, we hope to expand our footprint to other schools in the Florida college system, but we are very glad to have all 4 schools participating with us tonight. And with that, I think we are ready to begin round 1. So I want to introduce our first set of competitors. Would you please welcome Jake Nguyen of HCC. Jake?
Hey. Come on, let's go. Yeah! Let's go!
opponent, Isabella Munoz of PBSC. So, again, the issue is artificial intelligence will positively impact the labor market. Agree or disagree? Taking the agree side is Jake. Taking the disagree side is Isabella. So, going first, Jake, you have 2 minutes to make your argument.
AI has the power to revolutionize the labor market in the United States economy for the positive, similarly to all of its previous predecessors in technology advancements we've seen before. It can do this in 2 ways. First, by creating jobs that we have yet to know, and secondly, is to free employees of rote and mundane tasks so that way they can improve critical structures that require people and improve their own skill and company efficiency. To my first point, the creation of jobs. AI is a new field, and there is yet to know what we can do with that. Similarly to the invention of cars, there was no such thing as a mechanic. There was no such thing as tire manufacturing. There was no such thing as the automotive industry. These things have been developed because of new technology. Coopers got replaced, but that does not mean that the job market had decreased. The Interactive Ad Bureau did a study in 2021 where it found 17 million people had gotten jobs directly from the creation of the internet. Now think about all the jobs that created indirectly. People starting businesses, everything that can imagine potentially create all these jobs. To my second point, the AI can remove rote and mundane tasks is going to be a game changer in what people can do for themselves. Today, we can get rid of tedious things like emails and customer support and put their time back to logistical efforts. We all familiar with self-checkout. Everyone believed that self-checkout was going to remove the jobs of the cashier, and that is partially true. 2% of the cashier jobs have been decreased over the past 4 years. But overall employment in grocery stores have increased by 3% according to the US labor market statistics. Jobs will be relocated, not replaced. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Isabella?
In a perfect world, AI may be very beneficial to the labor market. However, according to an economic forum known as Forbes, 56% of the companies that they interviewed said that AI would be implemented into their customer service positions. And as my opponent mentioned himself, these customer service positions seem tedious, these emails seem tedious. However, they are absolutely necessary for the foundation of the labor market. This is because unless people occupy these positions, they will not be able to get the skill or the experience to progress to higher or mid-skill positions. Now, on high-skill positions, 14% of high-skill positions globally can be completely replaced by AI. This causes a discrepancy between the demand and the supply of the jobs that AI is promising to offer, which are primarily within the IT industry, such as data analysis and AI programming. Because these skill sets are so niche and specific to this industry, it may take people a very long time to retrain themselves from their previously displaced profession into this industry. Now, again, with the lower skilled jobs from customer service and accounting and even marketing, although marketing is a mid-skill job, AI is also capable of replicating the tasks that these people are able to do. And this is a problem because the people, as I said previously, will not have the ability to retrain themselves to assume the positions of the newly integrated AI positions. People may not have access to the necessary training that is required for AI, and that is why AI will have a negative impact on the labor market. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabella. Jake, your first rebuttal.
My opponent mentions the fact that there's an equity gap in being able to upskill to these higher level positions that AI may create. But that is not the fault of AI. That is the fault of societal, that we impose on ourselves, on society. Within the past year, New Jersey has repealed requirements for bachelor degrees in many of its civil servant jobs. They recognized that there had a labor shortage, but the restrictions of a bachelor's degree was unnecessary and redundant. They repealed that, and a whole new labor market has opened up. It's self-imposed societal restrictions that are stopping us from moving up, not the progress of technology. This all comes to the fact that AI and technology will continue to advance, and there's not stopping it. And my opponent says, once again, it's only unavailable to some people. Well, this is a short-term problem. We're talking about long-term skills of humanity. AI will ultimately benefit. The inability to find skilled workers will only be a short-term issue for us.
Thank you, Jake. Isabella, 1 minute.
My opponent says that the ability to find skilled workers will be a short-term issue. This is not the case because of my primary argument, that AI is coming for low-skilled and introductory jobs. If people are unable to assume these jobs within the labor market, they will not be able to have the necessary advancement or experience to assume higher-skilled jobs. If they're knocked out of the labor market, they cannot pursue these new jobs that AI is opening up, which, again, I mentioned is within mostly the IT industry. This is a very niche skill set. People may not know how to work these computers, and because they're knocked out of these low positions, they're not only not worrying about how they're going to pursue the knowledge of working a computer because, you know, they need to feed their families. They cannot assume these positions because many jobs require a background skill set. Thank you.
Thank you. Jake, your final rebuttal.
We as people can grow. We can adapt. You'll grow stronger and better. And like I mentioned earlier, technology will progress. And we've still stood here today stronger than ever. A lot of the things that my opponent says that there are people that can't learn, right? I don't think that's true. I think things will change. People are an evolving species. And similarly, when the car was invented, people learned to drive. And now truck drivers are the majority population of employed people inside the United States. That was a direct benefit of the technology advancing. And as we continue, it is short term. These learning processes are very short. Internet to the mass public was only introduced 30 years ago. And guess what? It's integral to our society. We can't even escape email. We can't escape text. We can't escape this digitorium made of projectors and computers and wires. Everything changes, and we will too.
Thank you, Jake. And final, sir, rebuttal?
As my opponent said, we cannot escape emails, we cannot escape texts, and likewise, we cannot escape these low positions that AI will be threatening. It is the threat of these positions that AI poses that will make this, as my opponent says, a short-term problem. It's not really a short-term problem, because in the long term, if people are removed from the labor supply as they cannot assume the lower positions that allow them to gain the skill, they will not be able to go on and assume the higher positions. This is a long-term effect, and it has, as my opponent said, nothing to do with societal issues. This is because of the AI. We cannot allow AI to carve out the position of these people within the labor market. Thank you.
Thank you both. And that ends our first round. All right, great. While the judges complete their scoring sheets, let's go ahead and call in the second pair of debaters. And as we call them in, I want to give a special thank you to the faculty and staff who helped to make this event happen. From Eastern Florida State College, Josh Humphreys, Aaron Baird, and Christy McBride. From Hillsborough Community College, Dr. Anne Marie Coates, Dr. Douglas Charles, Dr. Stephanie Lamps, Professor Douglas Ponticos, Dr. Andrea Vicenti. From St. Petersburg College, Doug Rivero, Eric Tucker, Katie Snell, Michael Culligan, and Blidarf Prifty. And from Palm Beach State College, Dr. Kevin Coakley, Greta Jackson, Matthew Lenahan, Sheila Scott Lubin, and Abby Ross. While the students enter and judges score, we wanted to show you the different campuses participating today so our students and our audience can get a little tour of the Florida college system, see where their opponents all came from. So first up is Eastern Florida State College.
Your future begins with a choice, a first step in the right direction. Eastern Florida State College can help get you there. Create a great career with a bachelor's degree, an associate's degree, or a college certificate in high-demand job fields like healthcare, advanced manufacturing, aerospace technology, computer technology, and more. On campus or online, you can find inspiration, support, and success. So, what are you waiting for? Take that first step. Eastern Florida State College, where titans rise.
So before I call in our next set of debaters, I just want to take a point of privilege here and say thank you to the people who are making all the bells and whistles go here tonight. So Kyle is essentially our director, Luke, Lance, Walter, and Jason over here scratching off. So let's call the second set of debaters. Welcome D'Angelo Rigliozzi of Eastern Florida State College. And his opponent, Derek Splinter of HCC. So the issue is artificial intelligence will positively impact the labor market. Agree to my right, to my left is disagree. Taking the agree side is D'Angelo Rigliozzi. Taking the disagree side is Derek Splinter. Going first, D'Angelo, you have 2 minutes to make your argument. The timekeeper will hold up flashcards so you can see where you are. So, you're on, sir.
A job market reshaped by AI will see workers empowered, not replaced. In a human-based labor market, it's hard to simply replace a human. While the fear that AI can take jobs is understandable, the reality is that AI will enhance workers and industry alike, allowing humanity to retain control and guiding markets toward unprecedented growth and innovation. McKinsey & Company estimate that AI could generate up to $2.6 to $4.4 trillion annually across 63 industry use cases. Although initial challenges from AI's adoption will arise, these difficulties are temporary. As new industries emerge and skill requirements shift, opportunities will follow. Every single worker is poised for a better job outlook, as every worker can benefit from AI's adoption. Mark Muro, a former senior policy analyst at Arizona State University, saw significant job growth during the Great Resignation. During this time, Oxford University found that workers could acquire AI skills and increase their salary by as much as 40%. These dynamics demonstrate that AI can serve to enhance every worker, allowing for every worker to be poised for a better job outlook. AI serves to enhance every job in the market. As the saying goes, the chain is as strong as its weakest link. AI serves to help every single worker, meaning that every single link in our chain will be empowered.
Thank you. Derek?
Good afternoon. I'm here to disagree that AI will negatively impact the job market and the labor market. But first, we need to define two terms. What is the labor market and what is AI? The labor market is the supply and demand of labor inside our economic system. And what is AI? AI is not the Terminator. It is not Skynet. It cannot think, it cannot do, it can only replicate. AI will only further cause skill disenchantment and pay gap, which we already experience here in our American market. The Times has reported that OpenAI is not built by engineers or doctorates. It's actually built by workers in Kenya, being paid less than $2 an hour. And Bloomberg reports that Amazon AI's stores in San Francisco are not powered by AI. They're actually run by contractors in India, 1,000 miles away. We are talking about taking the humanity out of humans. AI does everything for you, so what is the point anymore? The Global Institute for Economic Prosperity reports 25% of all labor in the UK can be done by AI. This is effectively 6 million workers overnight. We are talking about no longer have a job. They are obsolete. We are creating an infinite supply to a finite problem. AI can do no wrong. AI has never been held accountable for any of its wrongdoings. And Derek Mobley versus Workday, a court case just now shows just this. AI actively discriminated against potential worker candidates and reported to HR they were not candidates. AI is fundamentally designed to replace us. It is artificial intelligence. What intelligence are we talking about? It is arguably human intelligence. We are writing ourselves into the matrix, and one day we'll be finding a Neo to come save us. There is only so much productivity and only so much GDP to go around, and AI is an infinite supply. AI can never be turned off, and when it does, it comes right back on. A human does not do the same. A human at some point has to stop. They have to eat, they have to drink, they have to go home to their family, and AI never has to do this.
Thank you. D'Angelo, 1 minute, first rebuttal.
My opponent spoke on the fact that AI could exacerbate the already wealth equality found in America. My response to this is that AI reduces disparity. Even though AI can increase costs in some areas, in other areas, AI can significantly decrease costs. According to the Harvard Public School for Health, AI could reduce treatment diagnosis costs by up to 50%. He also talked about job loss. My response to that is we've been here before. A Goldman Sachs 2023 report showed that 85% of job growth over the last 80 years was rooted in new jobs for new technology. AI isn't just going to simply come around and take your jobs. What it will really do is enhance the skills that you already have and allow you to find more opportunity in more sectors. AI is not the detrimental harm that my opponent says it is, but rather the catalyst for growth that we all need.
Thank you. 1 minute, first rebuttal.
AI is fundamentally infinite in the concept of it. You can make an AI for anywhere, and cloud computing does just this. You can deploy an AI to any space in the world. Does our labor only revolve around the fact of our labor is what the AI can't do until the AI can do it, and then the AI takes our job away from us? All the growth is temporary. It is not the state of things. It will maybe not continue. This implies that there is an infinite supply of everything. There is not an infinite natural resources. There is not an infinite GDP. There is not an infinite productivity. There is not an infinite amount of jobs to be found. Supply can be given, when we talk about labor and supply, we are talking that AI can be infinite supply. We can do this anywhere. The enhancement of skills. When we talk about the enhancement of skills, 2/3 of adults in America do not have a college degree. With what apparatus are we talking about enhancing their skills?
D'Angelo, your final rebuttal.
My opponent, in his opening argument, also spoke upon the fact that AI can be biased in our job market. My response to that is we are already taking steps to reduce this bias. A recent federal executive order showcased how AI is successfully being regulated and controlled by the government. My opponent also spoke on how AI may not enhance us, but bring us back. My response to this is it will not. It will propel us forward into a future where we all know we're already heading to. A future where every worker can see more opportunity, can be more resilient, and can be that stronger link in our supply chain. As well as this, I also want to speak on the fact that my opponent spoke on wealth inequality again. I also want to say that AI is accessible to all, as 95% of people own a phone.
Thank you. Final rebuttal.
AI does have a bias. It is the bias of whatever human creates it. Fundamentally, AI can never understand what it is like to be a human. It fundamentally can never be a person. It can never experience what we do. It never learns the way we do. It'll always have a bias. You will never be able to get it out. When he talks about bringing us back, this is a utopia concept. We're talking about a utopian society that does not exist. It has nothing to do with the labor market or the supply and demand in our current market. And AI does not even interface with our market in this way. With wealth and equality, to bring up an AI costs money. It costs $46 a month to run ChatGPT. What is the cost of a human laborer? There is no way a human laborer could ever compete with this cost. It'll never happen. AI will always fundamentally be better than you. It'll always do more work than you. It'll fundamentally do your job better. There is no reason a company would ever hire you over an AI when they can do an AI enterprise.
Well, on that optimistic note, thus ends round 2. Thank you, gentlemen. So let's go ahead and call in our next group of speakers. And I just want to point out that this is the 11th year since the Great Debate was reactivated by our Institute for Strategic Policy Solutions here at SPC. This is the 3rd year colleges from across the state are competing in the debate, and over the years, students have debated such divisive issues as suppression of free speech, guns on campus, the Stand Your Ground law, the legalization of medical marijuana, eliminating term limits, and mandatory vaccination. So, who's going to take the crown in this year's grand debate? We'll find out in a couple more rounds. So here we go with our next campus tour from Hillsborough Community College.
Inspired students, engaging instructors, innovative partnerships, relevant programs for today's knowledge-based economy. These are a few of the factors that contribute to the stimulating learning environment that is Hillsborough Community College. Building on more than 5 decades of service to the Tampa Bay region, HCC serves more than 42,000 students each year at our 5 campuses, 3 centers, and through our wide array of online courses. From programs that improve the health care of our community, to those that support the growing regional transportation and logistics industry, to the arts that elevate the quality of life for our citizens, HCC ensures that higher education is within reach of anyone with the motivation to accomplish it. HCC offers over 200 academic options in a variety of formats to meet the evolving needs of today's student. At the core of our offerings, the Associate in Arts degree provides structured, articulated pathways to meet the freshman and sophomore general education requirements for those wanting to transfer to a 4-year college or university. Designed in partnership with business and industry, HCC's more than 170 workforce programs provide students with the advanced skill sets needed to enter the job market immediately. These programs include Associate in Science degrees, college credit certificates, post-secondary adult vocational certificates, advanced technical certificates, applied technology diplomas, customized corporate training solutions, and our first baccalaureate degree, the Bachelor of Science in Nursing. HCC also offers dual enrollment and collegiate academies for highly motivated high school students in collaboration with the School District of Hillsborough County. The strength of these partnerships makes HCC the first choice for recent high school graduates moving into higher education and has helped us maintain our position as the largest feeder institution to USF. Promoting on-campus engagement through a well-rounded student learning experience is something the college believes is essential to student success. HCC provides countless opportunities for students looking to connect with others who have similar interests through our student clubs, cultural events, and art programs. And of course, Hawk Pride is always on display as we cheer on our highly competitive athletic teams. HCC graduates go on to have an enormous impact on our community and economy. One of the most distinguishing features of our alumni is that more than 84% stay in the local area. And with their skills gained at HCC, they contribute significantly to the economic vitality of Tampa Bay. Combined with the college's annual budget of over $290 million and our more than 2,200 employees, HCC has an annual economic impact of over $1.3 billion. With a foundation centered on student success, HCC will continue to meet the needs of Tampa Bay for decades to come by developing the full potential of our students as productive, contributing citizens. We are building our community one student at a time. Hillsborough Community College. Our community, your college.
All right, let's meet our third set of debaters. Welcome Caden Quinn of SPC. And Augustin Gervasio of Palm Beach State College.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have
All righty, gentlemen. Again, the issue is artificial intelligence will positively impact the labor market. Agree? On the agree side is Caden Quinn. Taking the disagree side is Augustin Gervasio. Going first will be Caden. You have 2 minutes to make your argument.
According to a Glassdoor survey on diversity and inclusion, 61% of Americans have experienced or witnessed discrimination of race, gender, identity, or age within the workforce. This is unacceptable and frankly disturbing. By implementing AI, we can eliminate this discrimination. Rather than people's internal biases influencing their decisions, we can allow AI to grade people indiscriminately based upon their production and their personal achievements within the workforce. Should we not strive to eliminate internal bias and treat everyone fairly? Another result of AI in the workforce is an increase in efficiency and a decrease in human error. According to fastercapital.com, cashier errors can have a profound impact on the bottom line of many companies. As an associate at Publix supermarkets myself, I witnessed this firsthand. Often, I am accounting in the back. And when I am accounting, I find many small, medium, and large discrepancies caused by the cashiers throughout the day. This can be a few cents, it can be a few dollars, it can be $50 or more sometimes. Additionally, cashiers often misring or misscan products, causing shrink through, invisible shrink through inventory. Lastly, the main goal of every workforce is to ensure that its associates are satisfied. If they are not satisfied, we have a French Revolution, and quite honestly, I like my head where it is. According to Salesforce survey cited by NCSU, 89% of employees felt automation made their jobs more satisfying, and 91% reported improved work-life balance. A happy associate is a good associate, and a good associate is less likely to become turnover in the workforce. By increasing efficiency and associate satisfaction and decreasing human errors, we can bolster the labor force with an increased production number and increased production quality, which will allow companies to invest more into the workforce. Throughout all of human history, mankind has strived to become better and to keep evolving. The best way that we can evolve now is through the introduction of AI into the workforce.
Thank you, Kate. All right, you have 2 minutes to articulate the opposing position.
Now let me ask you a question, judges. What would happen if every company in our nation adopted this philosophy of applying artificial intelligence to their workforce? I'll tell you exactly what would happen. It would be inefficient, they would lose money, and eventually they would be laying off employees. And that mass laying off of employees is exactly why AI harms the labor market. Now, this isn't some isolated incident. This is a phenomenon known as AI hallucination. As defined by IBM and the UK National Cybersecurity Center, AI hallucination is simply when AI misinterprets data and then just throws it out nonsensically, which is exactly what I found. Furthermore, according to the UK National Cybersecurity Center, there are security issues with AI that aren't even foreseen to go away. Now, to my opponent's point about discrimination, according to IBM, AI is actually known, part of these errors, to be discriminating against race and against sex. This is something known as AI bias. So AI wouldn't even solve that issue. And as for the idea of eliminating human error, well, clearly the evidence shows that AI has just as much, if not far more error. Judges, it is because AI will be less efficient, far less efficient, and make far more errors than human beings that it will harm the labor market. Thank you.
Thank you, Augustine. Now, Caden, 1 minute, first rebuttal.
So you mentioned that AI, the hiring it doesn't eliminate discrimination, but that's completely in the hands of the beholder. Whoever controls the AI is the one who gets to set the parameters. It is not the AI making the decision to be discriminatory against them. It is rather a ramification of the person who is in charge of the AI not setting direct parameters to not judge based on race and ethnicity or anything like that. Additionally, you mentioned that the AI had made mistakes, but don't humans make mistakes as well? I believe the only way that we can move into the future and continue to improve AI is by using it. There will be challenges, there will be mistakes, as with everything. When computers were first introduced into the workforce, there was mistakes and challenges with computers as well. But if we want to make sure that we continue improving AI to the point where it won't be making the same mistakes that you have just referenced, I believe that we have to use it. Thank you.
Thank you. Augustine, first rebuttal.
Well, to touch on one of my opponent's latter points, he mentioned the idea that, well, humans make errors too. And as I addressed earlier in my previous speech, it is simply the fact that AI makes just as many, if not more, errors than human beings. Again, I cited from IBM and the UK National Cybersecurity Center that AI hallucination is a rampant disease, if you want to call it, amongst artificial intelligence. This is especially bad in AI, and it's far worse than in humans. But if you don't believe just this evidence, which I believe is sufficient in and of itself, just look at other examples. Even at my job, every time I try to call and I get a robot, it is 10 million times less efficient than when I actually get a human being on the line. That's because AI is simply not as advanced as people think it is. That is the simple fact. And because AI is not as advanced as people think it is, and actually it's far, far worse, it will ultimately end up harming the labor market. Furthermore, as I mentioned before, the UK National Cybersecurity Center says that these issues are here to stay, especially the privacy concerns. Thank you.
Caden, final rebuttal.
To reference the issues you came up with AI not being where it needs to be, I do agree it needs to be used more so that we can continue building upon it. I work at Publix, as I said, and at Publix we employ self-checkouts. They're honestly one of the most popular things that is used at Publix. Everybody goes to the self-checkout line. You can hardly ever find it where there is not all self-checkouts being used. The reason that people are using that is because it is a trustworthy system. Additionally, there's a Sam's Club in Grapevine, Texas that has just switched completely to using Scan and Go and AI as its main form of collecting and payment. At this Sam's Club, I interviewed the hiring manager there, and I got a claim from him that additionally, even with Scan and Go being its main form of purchase, there is no loss of associates and there is no change in the average number of associates that are employed at the Sam's Club. As far as your points to AI not being at the level it needs to be at right now, the only way we can improve upon it is by putting it into the field and seeing what needs to be improved.
Thank you. And finally, Augustine, last rebuttal.
Judges, let me make something very clear. I'm not anti-automation. I'm anti-artificial intelligence in the workplace specifically. Why? Well, as a study outlined by the preprint server for biology, in which I won't go far into the details for the sake of time, it outlined the idea that artificial intelligence specifically is keenly susceptible to the issues that I mentioned. It's not just technology in general. No, the Scantrons or whatever they're called at Publix aren't going to mess up someone's big lien or someone's debt. They're not going to think like a person, because the fact is that AI is unique in that it tries to be a human being. The self-scan checkouts at Publix don't do this. And again, this is unique to artificial intelligence. Judges, the simple fact is this: AI is unique. It's not a normal piece of technology, and it's not a normal automation system. It's unique in the fact that it tries to copy human being intelligence, make decisions for human beings, and the evidence abundantly shows that when it does so, it's deeply inefficient. Once again, this inefficiency, if it is adopted, which is why I urge you to vote no, is why it will harm the labor market. Thank you for your time.
Thank you both. All right, Well, while the judges are completing their scoring sheets, I want to go ahead and call in the next group of competitors. I think I am going to ask Matthew if you would mind coming up here and rescuing me from this wasp. Didn't bring the EpiPen tonight. And I'll go ahead and ask Kyle to run the SPC video. Competitors aren't just getting educated this evening. There's a little cash involved, and there's some prizes as well. This year, first through third places will also receive a custom 3D printed grand debate podium from Tim Weidman at the Chris Sprouse Workforce Innovation Center, and all of our competitors will receive a one-of-a-kind 3D printed grand debate coin. Yeah. So let's bring our fourth round of debaters in. Welcome, please, Natalie Cherda of Eastern Florida State College. And Kingston James of St. Petersburg College.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
All right. If our competitors are ready, I will remind you that the issue is artificial intelligence will positively impact the labor market. Taking the agree side is Natalie. Taking the disagree side is Kingston. Going first will be Natalie. You have 2 minutes to make your argument.
AI has already been positively impacting the labor market, especially the live streaming industry. Just as one example, AI has transformed the live streaming industry, taking it beyond just gameplay and expanding it to other content areas, other age groups, other interest groups. One such streamer named Kai Cenat is breaking records on Twitch with the support of AI in his streaming. One example is content moderation. With the help of AI, he's able to break barriers that humans would not be able to keep up with. Too many profane comments on a stream will often result in a temporary or permanent ban for streamers. Therefore, AI makes it possible to keep up with a larger capacity audience. Another way streamers are using AI to revolutionize the industry is automated production. They're able to use AI to create automatic edited highlight reels, automatically switch between camera angles, and they're also able to translate their streams in real time, widening their audience on a global scale. In fact, Statista predicts this market will be increasing 30% in the next 5 years, this game live streaming industry. However, this is just one industry. This is just one example. As far as all industries go, the World Economic Forum states that in the next 5 years, or in the next year, we'll see an increase of 97 million jobs, although we will lose 85 million jobs due to automation. This is completely normal. We're going to still see a net increase of 12 million there. Kai Cenat, the streamer I mentioned, he actually broke a record just last week due to AI. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Now, Kingston, you have 2 minutes to articulate the opposing point of view.
While AI may not be replacing every job, it can have negative effects, even in the role of a simple companion. Last year, in the year 2023, ChatGPT was recorded to be able to pass for a beginner-level programming position, the kind of one that you would get fresh out of college looking to get some real-world experience. In a world where AI is at everyone's fingertips, a project designer could easily oversee his own little team of AI-type interns. But this can have insanely negative effects, even if it's more productive. Interns will be unable to get entry-level jobs, thus creating a very high skill gap and making it near impossible to get necessary real-world experience. The way that AI works is it takes existing data and molds it to solve problems. It's a complete illusion of intelligence. This means that AI is always stuck with the status quo. In short, if AI was around in the year 450 BC, it would tell its users with absolute confidence that the Earth was in fact flat. But companies, they may lean into the use of AI to solve more basic problems, when in reality, we know that when a diverse group of experts get together to solve a problem, nothing beats an honest think tank. Another big issue that we have to watch out for is AI becoming the next Google. Unlike search engines, AI can hallucinate and make up its own data. IBM mentions this, with ChatGPT making up false information about the James Webb Telescope. On a much larger scale, AI is known to mess up more important things like medical records with less than 50% accuracy on even the newest AI models. What makes matters worse is that we can evaluate a website, whether or not we trust it. But with AI, it's a give or take, whether or not. Because it can have negative effects on the next generation of workers, and it can leave important, necessary tasks up to the risk of hallucinations and complete data spoofing, I believe AI will have a negative effect on the future of the workforce. Thank you.
Thank you, Kingston. So, Natalie, first rebuttal, 1 minute.
Thank you, Kingston, for your points. I like how you brought up hallucinations. These are definitely some alarming challenges that AI has been presenting recently as we're just beginning to implement. But that's exactly what they are. They're just challenges. As we begin implementing this new technology, we're going to see some challenges, especially financially. If you look at the laser printer, it actually came out in '76 at $8,000 in today's money, and today a laser printer is $99. So this is just an example of how technology is introduced gradually into the economy. Also, the skill gap is the large companies are working to redistribute the wealth and close the skill gap. Google AI actually has an AI career certificate, as well as Microsoft. They have an AI academy, and these are both affordable options for closing the skill gap in the labor market and helping people like you and me to keep our jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Kingston,
So,
1 minute.
You mentioned the skill gap, but I'm not arguing that the people won't still be talented. The issue is that when it's cheaper to choose between an AI and a person, businesses tend to go with the opportunity that tends to make them profits. You mentioned a streamer, I know, as your prime example, but I think when we're looking at the workforce, we really need to be focusing on the things with people's lives in the matter. And while it may help with something like chat moderation, we can't put AI hallucinations at the risk in something like the medical field. And on your point about hallucinations causing, just being a temporary roadblock, AI hallucinations are part of its nature. Unlike a laser printer, which is a very physical machine, AI algorithms are very nuanced and are known to make mistakes. Those mistakes lessening can be even worse. As people's confidence in AI increases, they're going to be less likely to fact check it, less likely to see if it's accurate, and more likely to just take its word for it, even if it is hallucinating and spoofing this data.
Natalie, final rebuttal, 1 minute.
I'm just using gaming as one example. AI is certainly going to expand to other industries, as the World Economic Forum has reported on an increase of 97 million jobs in the next year. AI in other industries will potentially lower the cost of prescription drugs by 70%. So take gaming as one extreme example. It's created a whole new category for itself. a whole new form of entertainment, a whole new form of labor, all new jobs are being created at this very moment. Finally, AI will actually bring us together, despite what you might think. There's actually a website that's a great example of this, Uncommon Goods. It'll help you with AI. It'll help you find the perfect gift for somebody who is hard to find a gift for. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Kingston, your final rebuttal.
While I do believe AI has many benefits in the future of the entertainment and product industry, when it comes down to the workforce, I think we really need to be considering the dangers here, especially as you mentioned, AI getting cheaper and becoming more integrated in technology. Why hire 10 people when you can hire 2 people with AI at their side to do the same thing? But the issue is these people, they won't have the ingenuity. They can't make something new. When the microscope was invented, it let us see things at a size that we couldn't see previously. AI, on the other hand, is just a way of rehashing our current data. And while you mentioned things like AI certifications, as AI increases in its ability, all this is going to do is bring you up to AI level. The issue here is companies are going to be using AIs with the same level as the people with these certifications, thus invalidating them and making it near impossible for you to really stand out in a crowd of cheap workers that never need paid time off.
Thank you. All right, this ends the final student competitive round. Thank you. All righty. I think if we can, the two of you will dot this way. The judges will continue to score. Yes. Excellent. You can go out this way, Natalie. Debate is the art of convincing by a combination of discussion, argumentation, persuasion, and it has its roots deep in the heart of Western civilization. Throughout its history, debate has thrived best in a democratic climate. In order for reasoned argument to exist, there has to be agreement that nobody is going to get their head chopped off for disagreeing. I think we're going to have a head-chopping theme this evening, but I think the whole idea, you've seen a great example here tonight of argument that is civil and thorough, and that's exactly why we chose to host this debate. Let's view Palm Beach State College's campus tour.
Rewind selector, rewind selector, rewind selector. Rewind selector, rewind selector, rewind selector.
It is my pleasure to introduce you to our 5th set of debaters, the faculty. Yeah, and we'll call them volunteers and thank them for stepping up today. First, I want you to welcome Professor Christian Moriarty of St. Petersburg College.
Take it to 10. Baby bet, ayy, couple racks, ayy, couple Grammys on him.
And Dr. Doug Charles of Hillsborough Community College.
With a taste of your lips, I'm on the ride.
if you could forget it. Tonight's topic, artificial intelligence will positively impact the labor market. Agree or disagree? Taking the agree position this evening is Professor Christian Moriarty. Taking the disagree position for the evening is Dr. Doug Charles. Going first will be Christian. You have 2 minutes to make your principal argument.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I am here to argue that artificial intelligence will be nothing but good for our labor force. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you, how many of you are sick of reading emails? I'm getting nods. A lot, right? How many of you are sick? It'd be one more meeting, you are going to go crazy. There's so much scheduling, so much things going on here that artificial intelligence can significantly lessen the rote, everyday monotony of our jobs and can unleash the actual human capital that we are all capable of. 77%, according to a Gallup poll, of workers in the United States are not engaged in their jobs. 77%. But as we see, a McKinsey study has shown us that 60% of all workers in the United States informs us that if there was artificial intelligence in their jobs, it would reduce their workload by 6 hours a week. Further, a Brookings and Science study boasts that their AI will specifically increase productivity to such a degree that it will unleash the human ideas that we are all capable of. It will create new jobs. It will create greater opportunities. The small business of the United States is the backbone of our economy. And through that backbone, the artificial intelligence will reduce significantly our capacity to start all the problems that gets in the way of starting that small business and makes it so we can thrive even that much more. So as we can say that jobs will be more productive, our workforce will be more efficient, and will allow us to get to the promised land that we are capable of. Artificial intelligence will unleash our capacity to be the best versions of ourselves. Thank you all.
Thank you, Christian. Dr. Charles, 2 minutes.
All right. I am here to argue against the idea that AI will be a positive impact on the labor force. And I have a few reasons split across 2 different things here. If you consider AI from a manufacturing perspective, automation, right, there's a lot of issues I'm going to get into here. McDonaldization, the idea of simplifying tasks, making workers more replaceable, shorter onboarding, making them, once again, more replaceable, hurting their ability to negotiate in the labor market. If we talk about like large language learning models, the ability to enhance things like surveillance in the workplace, I anticipate really dystopian panopticons that we already kind of see start to play forth in a lot of different warehouses where workers are monitored every hour, checked on their bathroom breaks, set to reach increasingly high productivity targets. And then finally, while this does sound like doom and gloom, I'm also of the position that I do think that AI is extremely overvalued at the current moment. I do anticipate that it will stutter. In its current form, companies like OpenAI are valued at staggering heights, up to $150 billion. But when you look at the math and how it all breaks down, the money is just not there. It's not coming in. A lot of it's anticipation of what seems like an industry that's stuck in the mud. To put quite frankly, plenty of people use tools like OpenAI to try to enhance workplace productivity, but only in its current form where it's essentially free to use. Under new leadership, OpenAI has already talked about potentially raising the price up to $60 a month in subscription fees. What I anticipate is that this is a giant bubble that will eventually pop and leave many people without jobs and disappointed in the promise of what AI was supposed to be.
Thank you. Professor Moriarty, your first 1-minute rebuttal.
My learned colleague is not wrong in a lot of things, is that there is indeed a concern of reduction in capacity for jobs. Indeed, a McKinsey study tells us that artificial intelligence might reduce 14% of the labor force. However, those 14% of the labor force will have the great opportunity to reskill and get into even better jobs. is that those jobs that are going to be automated already did not pay that well, and that we will have the opportunity in the grand halls that we are now sitting right as we speak to be able to get a greater opportunity to increase the opportunity of those that we serve. Now, as far as the money is spoken, is that just like any new technology, that there is always an initial investment that takes time. It always feels like an ephemeral product, but we are already getting the significant benefits of it right now. A JAMA study has shown us that in combination with artificial intelligence, doctors are better able to diagnose their patients and save lives.
Dr. Charles?
I do think that there are sector-specific applications, but considering the topic is the labor market at large, I think one of the issues with a lot of the statistics that are presented in debates like these is that they're targeted to specific firms or sectors. What we find when we generalize AI and its effect on the workforce across the world, across entire nations, we find a deleterious effect on employment. For instance, in a 2020 study, for every single robot added to the US workforce, per 1,000 workers, we saw a negative 0.2% decrease in employment to population ratio. We saw a negative 0.42% in overall wages across all sectors. And I think this will only be exacerbated as this spreads across the globe when we have countries able to take their robots, put them in other countries, and leech from their workforce, extracting rents, and thank you.
Okay, well, so first thing, and I want to give a shout out to my student Ron, who came up with this argument, is that indeed robots may replace the labor force, but who needs to make the robots? Who needs to maintain the robots? Who needs to deploy the robots? That will require human interaction. And my learned colleague also talks about the potential inequality that might come from this. And I would argue that that inequality is not from the artificial intelligence itself, but that is an inequality of our human nature. Now, I don't know if artificial intelligence will solve our human nature just yet. Look for that in ChatGPT 5.0. But I would argue that we need to fill the human spirit, whatever that may come. And as history shows us, technology causes growing pains, but I dare say we are up to the challenge of these growing pains, and artificial intelligence is the future of our labor force.
Doug, last word.
As my colleague has explained here, I agree that there is potential here. My argument is that we just don't have evidence for this currently. What we see now is a stalled sector in innovation, businesses that are overinflated, dealing with AI, potentially ready to pop. And furthermore, you can make the statement that our social and economic or political economy should catch up with AI to deal with these effects, but without evidence that it's moving in that direction, I just can't take seriously the claim that it will have a positive impact in the labor force without some sort of assurance, some sort of exit plan for a paradigm shift in our economy.
All right. Thank you very much. That's right. So I see that we have our competitors here. I'm going to ask them to join me up here on the stage. So we've now reached the interview point in the evening. So make yourselves seen out here. All righty, excellent, excellent. Oh, thank you, Sam. So I'm going to just quickly ask a few questions of all of you. So by show of hands, how many of you have competed in formal forensic things previously? One. Oh, and a half. Okay. All right. So I think I'm going to ask, we've got the microphone down here at this end. If you would just share with me what your big takeaway from this experience has been. It's been months, You've done home campus competitions. You came over here. You've met people from completely different institutions. What's the big takeaway, sir?
First of all, good evening, everyone. My big takeaway is it is absolutely difficult yet humbling for someone to have opposing opinions at the same time. I mean, some of the debaters here had the opinion of AI will negatively impact the labor market, yet they argued the opposite. So having the ability to hold different opinions yet pick a side, it transforms you in a type of way where.
So I think Jefferson said that that's the mark of a truly great intelligence, to be able to hold two opposing views in your mind at the same time and recognize the value of both.
I agree with you. Yes.
Thank you. All right. Big takeaway here?
Is trying to see the whole picture, right? Getting the whole story. And that's something I feel like is lost amongst us in society today, is the polarization. So to be step into one shoe and then step right into the other is very important. As well as because every time I tried to make a strong argument and came up with a counter argument, I kept dissuading myself, right? I'd flip-flop between one option and another. It was like, man, that's a really good point. I don't know how I'm gonna point this out. But it just kept going and going, and I think that made my understanding of the situation fuller than it would have been before.
Thank you. Sir?
It's always easier to do this than it seems. It's more nervousness than coming up here. It's always pretty much over in 2 seconds. And then also trying to come up with both ends of it is always a challenging, trying to pick the ethics and the philosophy behind a lot of the concepts that are here on the agree or the disagree side, I think is always a troubling and an interesting experience.
Next.
I agree with the general consensus of what was being said. Sorry. I agree with what the general consensus of what was being said here, where it is very transformative to hold two opposing opinions in your mind at the same time. And I found that within the research for this competition, I originally deviated towards one side, but after researching, I found myself somewhere in the middle. Both sides have very good points, and it's really important to consider the realistic outcome of this scenario, and it's really interesting to really dive into this. I've also found community with my team, of course, and overall, I'm just really honored and glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
Well, last thing she mentioned was that she found community with her team, which I concur. She was part of my team, and then we got these two guys right here. So, yeah, we got the matching Palm Beach State pins. Strangely, one of the things that I took away wasn't mostly speech and debate related, but more that I didn't realize it was this easy to make friends if you just have like one thing in common with them. But speech and debate related, I guess I kind of realized, myself included, that we all have a tendency to dance around a topic. Like if there's a particular issue, it's just, our first instinct isn't to take it head on, it's just to, even whether it's our biases or because we're, again, myself included, just not super intelligent, we just kind of miss the point. And so doing this helps us really get to the root of the issue and get to the point.
As a logic professor, I really appreciate exactly what you said. It's very, very difficult to figure out what the nut of the issue is. Congratulations. The takeaway?
So for me, I was put in this position to help my colleagues here. Really, I was like their coach, I was their assistant, I was debating with them a lot. I was saying every time they'd say something, I'd come out right back at them. Okay, well, what about this? What about that? You know? And they'd get so annoyed with me. They'd go, bro, I'm trying to make a point here. I was like, yeah, you got to come up with every single possibility. What could they say? And have a counter argument to the counter argument to the counter argument to the counter. It was so fun, but it was also really like, not stressful. It was more fun than stressful, but I learned so much looking into this topic. When I was going in, I was very pro AI, I will say, which might be surprising to some people from like the amount of like the you hear online, the media, the fear for everything. But I think that there's so much opportunity to it, and you know, with the concerns that I also learned doing this experience, I realized that there is a lot more that we need to take into account, especially on a global level, how this will impact everybody and how we can move forward to really ensure that we go somewhere positive rather than negative. And overall, I just had so much fun, and I loved getting to know these guys. So, yeah, thank you.
Great. That's great.
Sorry. I came into this thinking about what 90% of the audience here was thinking. AI is bad and there's no good that can come from it. But when I was thinking about it and thinking about pros, I found actually a lot of pros to it. One of my favorite was how it's like destroying language barriers in a good way. People can take on little earbuds and put it in their ears, and an AI Siri voice would automate the languages and just automatically translate it in real time, like Google Translate, but not hearing the Google voice. And I thought about, wow, there's actually more pros to AI than I actually believed. I came here thinking I was going to debate, but 2 days ago I heard that only 2 per school, so unfortunately I couldn't. But it was still fun regardless, and I had fun just helping out my team, and this was just a fun experience overall. Thank you for having me.
Great. Thanks for joining us, sir.
So I think what I really took away is like everyone has opinions and stuff, but kind of like the why. Like I always, I came in like out the gate like AI, no. And then I kind of realized like, do I really have the right to have an opinion on this? Like what research have I done? What expert commentaries? And like, I think this really just expands your idea of like, if you 100% are in on something, you probably haven't done enough research. And I think that's really what I took away is like, having a right to an opinion. And if you want to have it, you kind of have research to back it.
Thank you. Caden, your thoughts?
I believe that I came into this and I learned that people's experiences is really what makes up their beliefs at the end of the day. For me, my experience at Publix, I deal with AI all the time. But at the end of the day, you can find good information online, you can find bad information online, you can find just about anything you want online, honestly. So everybody's subject to their own beliefs. It's made by what they've experienced and what they've gone through in life. Doesn't mean that they're wrong, doesn't mean that they're right. They just get to believe what they want to and never just discount it because of that.
D'Angelo?
I wish I had a really philosophical takeaway like my opponents, but I don't. My takeaway is I want to do this again, and I want to keep doing it, and I want to get better at it. I went up onto the stage, and I said to myself that my nervousness was unrealized excitement. That was not the case. I went up there, my knees got weak, my palms got sweaty, and I kind of felt like mom's spaghetti. Just a little bit. But never did I think, man, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do this. This isn't for me. Rather, I felt nervous, to say the least, but I also felt a calmness that with time and with practice, I could do better, and I could be better, and I could achieve the things I truly want to do in my life.
Yeah. Natalie?
My biggest takeaway was just realizing that there are so many resources available to students. Even though we're in community college, just like incredible support. I'm just so surprised and almost a little bitter that I hadn't found it sooner. And then as far as the debate goes, I'm starting to realize like AI is to credit for a lot of the good things that have been happening in my life. Like I've been recently interested in watching Kai Cenat stream and iShowSpeed and just streamers. So this is actually something that I should be accrediting to AI. And a lot of things like search results, the AI search results, it kind of just tells me the information, and I didn't really notice it was AI doing this. So, and that's in a lot of sectors in life, so yeah.
Thank you all. We really appreciate all of your efforts. Great job and highly entertaining, but let me also say there are, oh, here I've got my judges. All right, excellent. Are we ready to make this announcement then? All right, so here we go. Third place in the grand debate for 2024, Derek Splinter. Congratulations, Derek. All right, there we go. Oh, look at there. All right. Excellent. Oh, yeah, we got to memorialize this. If there aren't photos, it didn't happen. All right, hang on to it. I don't know. Is that negotiable? Okay. All right, second place, Augustin Gervasio. Right? Yeah. All righty. And now, the winner of the Grand Debate 2024 edition, Kingston James. All right. So, Kim?
I just want to thank all of you all for your time tonight. These students were exceptional. Please give them another round of applause. I want to thank our team at SPC before I get to the other coaches. Dean Demers has been doing this for a long time, and whenever we ask her, she just says yes. And so thank you so much for being just an exquisite moderator. Thank you to our judges, who you all are new to our space, but you all did a great job. And to our provost, Mark, thank you always for saying yes. And for Douglas also, thank you for all the work that you do. And for our team, Dr. Snell, and all the coaches who have worked tirelessly to make these students shine, once again, thank you. We have our president who snuck in here and is going to be really upset that I told her I would not call her out. I'm calling her out anyway. Dr. Williams is here, and Dr. Williams, if you will please come up. She is technically not working right now, so this is a really big ask. But I wanted to say, she wanted to see this happen. When she hired me, she said she wanted to see a real Florida college debate. So 5 years in, you get to see your real Florida college debate. So let her do the closing words.
Listen, y'all are amazing. I sat in the back. I got to see everyone but the first one. I missed you. But I feel like y'all are ready to be president. I mean, you guys had very good points. I was sitting back there like, yeah, oh, that was good, you know. But we're so proud of you, and the investment that you're making in yourself is an investment of a lifetime. And this is how we make decisions. You've got to do what you talked about. It's, you know, the knees are knocking and everything's nerve-wracking, but you did a great job. And I've never been more proud. For Palm Beach, I've sent your president pictures. I'm working on Hillsborough and Eastern College. But I'm very proud of each of you. And then to the judges, for the time that you've taken. This was tough. I mean, I'm glad I wasn't a judge. And to the coaches, thank you for all of your time. I know there were moments you were thinking, Lord, are they going to get it? But look, they did it. Excellent job. And thank you guys for visiting SPC on behalf of the Board of Trustees. My buddy right here, I'm so glad to see you. Great to see you here. We want to thank you guys for being here. And I'm just very proud of this group of students and the work you guys have done to teach us. I learned things tonight. We were in the back saying, oh, I didn't know that. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. So you taught us, and we want to thank you for that. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'll get that later. So on behalf of the Institute for Strategic Policy Solutions, we thank you for your time. We hope that you follow us, that you share what we do with the community, whether that's Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube, or just go back and tell people to watch our videos. Everything we do is digitized. We are very proud to honor the legacy of Congressman Young and all the work he did and what he wanted to give to the Florida college system. So thank you and good night.